Hello students, welcome back to the online sessions of the Material Science and Metallurgy. Myself Vivek Parikh taking the lecture on the subject that is known as Material Science and Metallurgy. We were discussing about the chapter that is known as heat treatment of the steel. So, we have already discussed about the topics such as what is the heat treatment of the steel, why we are going for the heat treatment on the steels. We have studied the two important diagrams that is known as an TTT diagram, means time temperature transformation diagram we have shown. Then we have gone for the CCT diagram, continuous cooling, or you can say critical cooling transformation diagram we have studied. After that, we have started about the main thing that is known as an heat treatment of the steel. So heat treatment, they are basically divided into two types. The first one, the bulk, and the second one, the surface. Bulk means we have gone for the hardening, or you can say the surface treatment of the whole bulk, means whole sample is treated, or you can say the heat treated is done on the sample which is on the whole material. But the second portion will come, that is it will only done on the surface of the steel. So now we have discussed about the bulk transformations, in which we have studied four methods that were annealing, normalizing, hardening and tempering. So we have saw up to now all these different topics. So now we will be discussing in our upcoming lectures about the two things. One, that is the surface hardening of the material, and the second one which we will be seeing, that is the hardenability of the material. That is one of the property that is known as an hardenability of the material. So before we move forward, let us recall one property of the material that is known as the hardness of the material. What do you mean by the hardness? Hardness was nothing but an ability of a material to resist the wear, or you can say any indentation or the scratches which is done on the surface. Okay, so now hardenability means up to which depth you are getting the hardness in the material, that is known as an hardenability of the material. Okay, so now first of all, let us discuss this thing. Let us take one example. By taking this example, let us go for the thing, that is, if this one sample has been given to you, and if you want to find out the hardness, which up to which depth we are getting the hardness, suppose we are getting the hardness up to this region, let us say up to this region we are getting the hardness. So whatever the region, this thing, suppose take it as an x meter. So this x meter is known as an hardenability of the material, means up to the x meter depth from the surface we can find out the hardness is there in the material, and this property is known as an hardenability of the material. Why to go for this particular thing? As we have discussed earlier that the whole sample we were going for the heat treatment, but we do not require the whole sample to be hardened. What we require, we are only interested in the surface of the material. Then why to waste the energy and money and all the different resources for the whole thing? So for that thing we have going, or we are going for the new topics, that is the hardenability. So for that thing what we are doing, we are only heating, or we are only hardening the material up to certain depth only. So that's why to measure that depth, that is property is known as an hardenability of the material. Okay, so now let us discuss of this hardenability. The responsibility of a steel to a given hardening treatment is indicated by the property that is known as an hardenability. It is the depth, index of the depth to which the martensite can be formed. As I told you, hardness, how the hardness we are getting in the material, the hardness we are getting with the help of the martensitic structure. How we get the martensitic structure? By the rapid cooling of the material. So we will be finding out the depth at which we are getting the different types of the hardness in the material. The term hardenability is used to measure the depth of hardness achieved. Clear? So this was your hardenability, what we have discussed. Greater the depth of the hardness below the surface, higher will be the hardenability. Okay, now let us discuss the one of the test which is performed on the steel, that is known as a Jomini and Quinch test. This test is used to find out the hardenability in the material. So for finding out the hardenability of the material, this test holds a very much important thing. So for that, Jomini and Quinch test, we have to prepare one standard specimen. Let us see the figure of that standard specimen which is used for the Jomini and Quinch test. So this is the thing, a cylindrical thing portion is taken for the Jomini and Quinch test, whose length is up to 100 mm length we are taking. 100 mm length, and the diameter whatever is there, that is of the 25 mm diameter. So this specimen that is 100 mm and diameter, that will be about the 25 mm. So what is this test? This test is used for the hardenability of the material. What are the dimension of the specimen, test specimen which we are making? 100 mm in length and 25 mm in diameter. Now what we will be doing? Heat the whole specimen up to the austenitic range. So we have to convert the whole specimen, this specimen whatever we are taking, this whole specimen, what we are doing? We are heating the material up to austenitic range. Then what we are doing? Hold the material for some time. And then what we are doing? We are going for the cooling of the material. How cooling is done? Cooling on one end of the surface is done by water. You can see over here, there is a spray of water which is applied on the specimen from one end, and the another end, the other surface of the specimen is allowed to cool slowly in the atmosphere. What we are doing? One surface is heated by the water jet, the second portion is allowed to cool with the help of the normal atmosphere. So what will happen? Due to this rapid cooling, martensite structure is obtained, whereas here slow cooling is done on the top, so you will get a perlite structure. Clear? Where we are getting hardness? Wherever hardness is getting maximum when the martensite structure is there. So we can say hardness is more in this region because it is rapidly cool, whereas hardness is less in this region because it is cooled in the normal atmosphere. So this is how you can carry out the Jomini and Quinch test. That means one end of the surface is heated, or sorry, it is cooled rapidly with the water, and the another end of the surface is cooled in the atmosphere. After a quenching, 0.38 mm deep is ground along one side of the test specimen, and the hardness is measured up to the length up to which you are getting. So a bar of steel having a good hardenability shows the higher hardness. So let us see from the graph. If this is the area from where the water is applied, you can see over here, this is the hardness measurement over here, and the distance from the quenched end. That means this area is this portion where water is applied. So you can see over here the hardness is maximum over here. As you proceed further, as you move further away from that quenching, water quenching medium, you can see there is a drop in the hardness, and ultimately you can see there is a less hardness over there on the opposite end of the surface. So this is how you can find it out, the any of the hardness, the depth of the hardness can be find it out. So by taking the average of the material, we can find out whatever the answer we are coming. That means this region, if we are getting, this is the middle region. Due to this region, we can find it out. We will be measuring the distance up to this. This portion is known as nothing but the hardenability of the steel sample. So this distance, whatever, take it as a 20 mm is there. So in a steel sample up to 20 mm depth, we are getting the hardness. So hardenability will be equal to the 20 mm. So if you want to find out any of the hardenability, we can go for the Jomini and Quinch test, and this test is performed in this manner. Clear? So this was your about the thing that is known as an hardenability and how we can find out that particular hardenability of the material. Why we are going for this hardenability? Because we are going for this hardenability for one reason, because now we are moving forward for the surface hardening method. Now, what do you mean by surface hardening? Because now we have come to know that by going for the hardness of the whole material, it is of no use. So, we are only going for the surface hardening. Why? Because we require hardness only at the surface level. We don't require hardness at the center of the region of the specimen. So that's why now we will be proceeding for the heating of the material on only on the surface. That means we are hardening the material's surface only. So for that thing, we are having the 5 different methods. The first method, that is known as a carburizing method. Second method, that is known as a nitriding method. Third method, that is known as a cyaniding. Fourth one, flame hardening, and last one, induction hardening. So in short, there are 4 different types of the methods which we are applying on the specimen for getting the surface hardening method. Now let us discuss our very first method, that is known as an case carburizing method. Case carburizing, in which we are having the surface hardening case or the surface hardening, that is the one and the same thing. Clear? So as I told you that nowadays the things have changed and we require only hardness on the specimen's surface. We are not at all interested in the whole hardening of the specimen. So for that, as I told you, 5 different methods are there as discussed. That is the flame hardening method, that is carburizing, nitriding, cyaniding, and carbonitriding methods we are using. Clear? So let us discuss this thing in the detail, and the very first method which we are getting, that is known as an carburizing method. The first method, that is known as in carburizing. Okay, in this method, what we are, as the name suggests, carburizing, we are adding carbon into the material. What we are adding? We are adding carbon into the material. Which material we are taking? Steel. What we are adding? In the steel we are adding carbon. What is the major content of the steel? That is iron. So when this iron reacts with your carbon, it will form Fe3C. What is this Fe3C? It is nothing but the cementite. What is cementite? As we have discussed in our iron carbon diagram, cementite is the hardest material. So it is the hardest material. So for achieving the hardness, what we are introducing? Carbon. With the help of the carbon, we are converting iron and carbon into cementite. And whatever the hardness we require, we are getting in the material. So in this thing, let us discuss how this thing we are doing. So carburizing is carried out on the steel containing carbon which is less than the 0.2 percentage. And here what we are doing, we are increasing the carbon percentage from 0.2 to 0.7 to 0.8. So you can see from 0.2 we are increasing our carbon content to 0.7 to 0.8 percentage. How we are doing? First of all, take a specimen and then we are placing this specimen in this way. Make sure that there is a distance of 25 mm between the two adjacent specimen. Means on all the 4 sides there should be always 25 mm gap should be kept. Now after placing this sample, what we are placing around this thing, we are placing the coke or the carbon, whatever you require, whatever the material in which carbon is there, that we are using. Majorly we are applying a coke over here. We are applying the coke and we are placing the sample over there. So what will happen whenever your material is heated? What will happen? The surface of the material, if this is the surface, this surface becomes soft. Whatever the carbon which is present over here in the form of the coke will start going or reacting on the surface of the material. So what will happen? As I told you, that is Fe3C will happen. So Fe3C will start depositing on the surface of the material in this way. So on the surface, your Fe3C will start accommodating. And as a result of which, what will happen? Your middle surface or the center surface is soft enough. But the surface which is on the top, that is the always having a hardness. Why? Because it is having an Fe3C. So how does this thing happen? This is known as a solid carburizing method. So with the help of the coke, we are applying and this method is performed. There is another method, carburizing method, which is known as a gas carburizing. What we discussed about coke, that was a solid carburizing or the PEG carburizing. But now we will be discussing about the gas. Which gas we are using? We are using 2CO, that is carbon monoxide. This carbon monoxide will be forming carbon and carbon dioxide. As you can see over here, carbon monoxide is allowed to move around the specimen, heat the material. After heating, what will happen? Due to the heat, your carbon monoxide will decompose into carbon and carbon dioxide. Your carbon dioxide gas will never react with the specimen. What is left? Carbon. What will be done? So your carbon with iron once again will form Fe3C. So as a result, the specimen will have Fe3C on it. So what will happen? The surface of the material will be hardened with the help of this method. So this is how the carburizing method works. Clear? There are two types of carburizing we have seen. One that is solid, this thing that is known as a solid. This one that is known as a gas carburizing method. Clear? So the remaining four methods, all the four methods which is remaining, that we will be discussing in our upcoming lecture. Okay? Till then, thank you.